Starting, and we're live. Happy Tuesday. Ready
Happy
to
Tuesday.
ready to talk about it, whatever it may be. Um, Today's topic that we're going to assign to be it
Today's
is
topic we're going to mangle.
yes, we are. We're going to mangle. Is how to stop trying to multitask and find some focus.
Nancy, I'm not sure we're the right people to tackle this.
Well, I almost spelt it FOC dash ASS, but I didn't. Um, I don't know. I have actually been working really hard on that particular issue, simply because of 2.5 days here in the office, 2 days at the greenhouse. And then I have another 2.5 days left to tackle my yard. So I have decided that years of multitasking and doing 9,000 things all at once has gotten me nowhere, um, except a headache, okay, and feeling at the end of the day like I accomplished nothing. To when it's me alone here in the office, I turn the ringers on the phone off. Now there's a phone downstairs in the shop underneath the office, and I leave that ringer on just so that I can hear it. Um, but I've I don't have my email up all the time. I do not immediately jump on that phone when it rings. And I really have like narrowed my focus. With only a limited amount of time, I kind of break things up. And yes, it's way harder here at the office to do that than outside of here. Um, but I'm finding that the things that I'm doing here in the software biz are flowing over to when I finally get home and have time to, you know, look at, pay attention, focus on Yarny Bookkeeper or getting the course done, or, you know, even like getting some knit or crochet time. Is I've just freaking disconnected this. And it's like, okay, I have these categories of things to do, I have this much time, and I block off time.
Yeah.
Here
Well,
in the office, every 50 minutes I will haul up my email, I will check it, but that 50 minutes I am concentrating on a task.
yeah. I stopped taking my laptop home because I don't want all of that to follow me in out of the office. And unfortunately I can't compartmentalize the way you can at the office because I'm not the boss. And the boss is the boss. But no, I understand what you mean. Yeah, no, it's for too many years, and I know that you understand this too. It's just the personal life and the work life just flowed together, and it got to the point where it was so hard to tell the difference between the two because it was just there all the time. So yeah, I stopped taking my laptop home a long time ago. I don't think about email in the evenings or on the weekends or anything else. If you want to get a hold of me, you better call me, and you'll be lucky if I answer my damn phone. So
Exactly. And you have it different. I mean, you're in an office where other people can just
yeah,
barge in.
Boy, do they barge.
I mean, here it's me, myself, and I, and Max, who's taking a nap. My interruptions come from the telephone and email. And I've just said, nobody is going to die if they wait
Yeah,
45 minutes.
yeah.
You know, it just I have adopted a very hard ass attitude of just because you waited until the last second.
Oh, yeah, no. No, no, I don't play that game. An emergency, yeah, a failure to plan on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. And I have just I've had that attitude for a, a long time. It's been very difficult to get my husband Ben on board with that. Um, but all of a sudden, the other night we were talking at dinner, and he said, blah, 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 lot of f bombs flying,
They do like their F bombs, don't they?
and all of a sudden, out of his mouth came the exact thing that I have been saying to him for years. They're not going to die. They may think so. They may have their knickers in a twist, panties in a wad, whatever you want to call it, but they are not going to die. They are not our only customer,
Oh,
and
God.
they certainly don't feel that if they want to be promoted to number one, and really what they're after is training and not it isn't right, it doesn't work, it won't let me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know, they can wait. They can just wait. And I know that goes against everything that anybody will tell you about running a business. That the customer is always right. Whoever came up with that phrase ought to have been shot and hung. Hard feathered, run out of town on a rail, whatever. Because they're not always right. They just think they are.
Well, and it's not even so much that, you can, I'm always willing to be very kind to people if they're being kind to me, but it's
Uh-huh.
when they get ugly and demanding and verbally abusive. Tony is looking for another job because they moved him over to loyalty and customer retention, and he's having all sorts of, he's at the last stance when people are trying to get problems solved. He's the last person in line, and everybody's always really, really angry when they talk to him. And they are horrible. So, no, number one, just to let you know that when you do things like that, you're not going to get your problem solved because most places have uh, uh, rules that their customer service reps don't have to take verbal abuse. And so, yeah, if you're getting really, really ugly with somebody, you might want to ratchet it down because your chances, the uglier you get, the chances of your problem being solved are going way down. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, they can and will hang up on you without any sort of problem on their part. They're not going to get in trouble for it. So, but yeah, no, the customer's not always right, especially when they're being ugly. So,
And I can tell you from years of having my own bookkeeping business, all the first, oh god, 15 years of Sunburst. Do you realize we're going to be 19 years old this
yep,
year in
yep,
August?
yep.
Um, Working 24/7 is a really good recipe for burnout.
Yep.
And the thing that you loved when you started will become the thing that you hate.
Yep.
I don't necessarily hate Sunburst. Um, I'm sick of the attitudes. I'm sick of the attitude that comes across the phone that people somehow think they own me.
I've got a client who suddenly decided to stop paying the sales tax on his support bills, and he's sending me these payments with minus $336 in sales tax. And I came back and I said, Ken, what's up with this? And he said, Alabama doesn't charge sales tax on services. I said, we've been doing this for a number of years, and this is the first you've said anything about it. We happen to use a third-party provider that calculates our sales tax and is state compliant. Can you please give me some sort of, proof that or documentation that I'm not supposed to charge you sales tax on this? And he just comes back and says, Alabama didn't charge sales tax on services. So I went through all of the Alabama tax code, which was more fun than the law should allow.
Yeah.
And found the section that said that if you have canned software, and we do, I mean it's robust software, but it's not custom software, so it's considered canned by the state of Alabama. That if you're not required to purchase a service contract, then it's not taxable unless there are parts of your service that would be considered taxable, upgrades, enhancements, things of that nature that are part of the service contract and are not specific different line items on the invoice. Well, our service contract includes enhancements and upgrades to the software that are not separate line items. And so I had to go and explain this to him, and now he's ignoring me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, we've already derailed.
Oh, way big time. Yeah. I told you we were going to mangle it.
Yeah. So focus. You
Yeah.
know, take all of those categories that you need to do in your business, whether it's design time or social media or website work or whatever those blocks or chunks are, and literally
Schedule
block
them.
out time.
Yeah.
And and for God's sake, disconnect, because the telephone, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Ravelry,
Mm-hmm.
you
Your
know,
email.
email, yeah, you know, even as much as I hate to say it, even webinars and courses, you know, all of a sudden you have nothing left. And sometimes depending on what I'm doing, if it's something fiddly, like if I'm doing a spreadsheet, um, I will listen to another course just because I like to have some background noise.
Sure.
But then all of a sudden I find that I'm at a part of the spreadsheet where I really need to focus and zero in. So what happens? Even though that YouTube video is still playing or the webinar replay, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
So why drive yourself nuts trying to multitask when really There are only certain things that we can do that we can multitask in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the same way with knit or crochet. You know, if you're doing a single crochet blanket and it's mindless and there's no color changes, by all means,
Watch TV.
watch TV or listen to the replay of that webinar. If you've got a simple garter stitch section in a shawl, by all means, listen to that. But if you're trying to lay out a design or do a blog post or whatever, you know,
Get a lace shawl. Yeah.
yeah, you know, don't attempt to do 10 things at once or even 2 things at once. And for God's sake, plan some time when you just don't do any of it. You know, I mean, for me, summer. Ha, I laugh at that. At that, it was 36 degrees this morning, which is like April weather. I am running around, and yes, you can see it's a long sleeve shirt. But what you don't realize is it's corduroy. Okay, here it is, the 4th of June. It is not even 50 degrees outside. It was 50 degrees in my office when I came in this morning. My hands are like 10 little ice cubes, and I turned on the heat. Um, but you know, it is supposed to be summer. In between rain showers and mud, I'm outside in my yard. Why? Because I just need to get away from all of this crap. You know, as much as I love the greenhouse, I enjoy my 2 days a week down there because, hey, I can go down there and it's the only place I can wear a tank top and not freeze my you know what off. I have worn shorts twice this year, once in February and once in March. Um, in the greenhouse, okay?
Oh, okay.
It's certainly not outside. Um, but you know, I mean, it's like, you know, I- and yes, my yard is a lot of work. My yard
It's
is
huge, Nancy. It is huge.
it is. I mean, we mow 3 acres. I have 19 blueberry bushes. Um, you know, I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 flower beds.
And they're big.
Yeah. I mean that big one that goes in front of my house, it's 5 feet wide and 70 feet long. Okay. If you were an extremely tiny person, it could be a mobile home. I mean, you know,
It would be very narrow, but
it
good.
would be, you know, and in the summer, I am very outdoorsy and I am very active. And the last thing I really want to do is sit in the house in front of a computer. You know, and nobody wants to come visit me in the winter. Everybody wants to come in the summer. So I have a lot of company, and it's just like, you know, weekends are mine. You know, it's just like
Yep.
having a real day job. You work Monday through Friday. You have your weekends off
Yep.
because you have to. I mean, otherwise, your brain is just it's fried. And I say that from experience because I used to work 80, 90 plus hours a week. And I did that for a really long time.
Yep.
and people would say to me, "Oh, there's blah 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 happening this weekend. You want to go?" And it would be like, "Nope, sorry, can't. I got to work." So what happens is people get sick and tired of that, and they don't ask anymore. And then all of a sudden, you have that one weekend where, oh my God, you've got an entire day. So you start calling these people who had said, "Oh, you want to go do blah, 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 blah." And all of a sudden they're like, "Sorry, I got other plans." And it's like, yeah, okay, I asked for that one, didn't I?
Mhm.
Um, and taking downtime is really important, and learning how to quit it, or learning how to ignore that pressure of multitask, multitask, multitask. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, what do you end up feeling like you got accomplished?
Well, and if you're so busy jumping from one thing to another and back to one thing and back to another thing, you're not going to get anything accomplished. You need to be able to sit down, prioritize, block out that, period of time. And if you find that you're going over into your next block of time, well, that's all good and well as long as you're still doing the same thing. But bouncing around isn't going to get you anywhere. Nancy's absolutely right. You're at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you haven't accomplished anything, and you're just going to be tired.
And then of course there's you take care of X, or you work on X, and then you jump to Y, and then you jump to Z, and then you turn around and you go back to X, and it's like, and where was I? So now you're backtracking. You're not saving yourself any time. You're not being as productive as you could be if you just say, okay, for the next half hour, I'm gonna go catch up on Facebook, and then I'm
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Or for the next half hour, I'm going to sit here and, I'm going to pound out a blog post, a draft,
yeah,
or I'm going to stop for a half hour and I'm going to work on this one section of this pattern that I'm working on, or one section of this shawl I'm knitting or crocheting. Um, you know, I feel like I came into that era of s- that's being single-minded
yeah,
was not was old fashioned and outdated. Everybody was multitask, jump here, jump there, jump the other. And to an extent we do have to do that. But, you do not have to respond to an email as soon as the damn thing downloads. You just don't. Um, you don't have to jump on that phone as soon as it rings. Because if you're being interrupted when that phone rings and you jump to answer it, when you answer it, you're going to sound distracted.
I sound distracted on the phone a lot.
So do I. Until I got to a point where it's like, I'm not jumping. I mean, I will hear the phone ring downstairs. I'm in the middle of X, Y, and Z. I finish that up. Then I'll go get the message off the phone and I'll call somebody back. And 99% of the time, guess what? They figured it out. But it's just, oh, so much easier to call me and have me just step them right through it. That's not the truth. Um, So there's the crab about quit multitasking and learn to focus. You're going to enjoy your life much better, work life, personal life, whatever. I mean, I'm sure when you're home and the phone rings and you're cooking dinner, you don't drop everything to do with dinner and jump on that phone.
Not unless they want something burned.
Seriously. And it is hard, and I certainly won't lie to anybody and say that it's easy, because it's not. It's very hard because we've had for years it drummed into our heads: multitask, multitask, multitask.
You can't apply for a job anywhere without it being the ability to be able to multitask as part of the requirements for the job. It's terrible.
Yeah, and and I mean, I can't. When was the last time that I did go for a job interview? 2000, when I moved to Montana,
Mhm.
and it was like, yes, I'm capable of it. I don't necessarily like it, but I am capable of it. I can go from paying bills or doing payroll to taking an order over the phone, um, or stopping because I got to order materials because the person who should have ordered the materials didn't, and now we're in a bind, and all of a sudden it's my job. Yeah, I am perfectly capable of doing all that, but at the end of the day, you walk out the door and you're tired and you're brain dead, and when your brain is dead, your body doesn't want to do anything. Your body says, "Oh, I want to go home and just sit down and close my eyes and just let all that crap just go away." And yes, I do look pretty comfy here, don't I, with my eyes closed and my chair leaned back. Um, but that's really what it is. So do yourself a favor. You have a business, you love it. It requires a lot of time and effort and work, but don't feel like you have to get everything accomplished in one day, because it's not going to happen. And don't think that if you spend a half hour on X today and another half hour on X tomorrow, that you're going to feel like you accomplished anything, because when tomorrow comes, you're going to take at least 10 minutes out of that 30 to figure out where in the hell you really left off the day before.
Yeah.
So that's my lecture for the week. Anything else you want to add now that we've digressed and run around and chased this thing around the racetrack 4 or 5 times and it got away?
And that's because we were busy multitasking. Anyway.
Exactly. Or multi-mouthing. I don't know what it was.
We have our little rabbit trails. We like them. No, I can't think of anything to add. I think we pretty much said it.
Do you have any secret?
You don't want to hear the secret for me not to feel like I need to go home and at the end of every day. Trust me, or you know what it is. They don't even know
Yeah.
So no. I just it's harder for me. It's harder for me at the office because I am distracted a lot. People can just barge in here, and my the focal point of my whatever task I'm doing can be ripped away and replaced with something else in a minute's notice. a lot of that's out of my control. One of the nice things about having a handmade business or working for yourself is that you have a little bit more control over that sort of thing. But when I'm not here, um, I I used to, even at home, bounce around from one thing to another. Oh, I've got to do this. No, I've got to do this. But these days, it's like, I know what I'm doing this afternoon. I'm going to go to the Y and I'm going to swim laps. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to take the dog to the dog park. And then I'm going to, when we get back from the dog park, I'm going to go and I'm going to cook dinner. And after I cook dinner, I'm going to clean up. And then I'm going to sit down for a few minutes and work on this sweater that may be done in 2022. And maybe watch a little television, or I may just read my book. I don't. That whole part's kind of up in the air. But when I decide what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that one thing. And it has been very good for me to be able to do that. I don't feel like I'm being jerked around and somebody else is, dictating how I live my life. And it is really important when you are self-employed and work from home, like so many of us do, to be able to do that with your job as well. Try and it's hard when you work from home. So you need to try and keep business and personal stuff separate. And because Nancy and I were talking about that earlier. So it's being able to focus on one thing and saying, this is where this begins and this ends and the next thing begins, is going to go a long way to keeping you sane. That's about all I have to add.
And insanity is wonderful.
Yes, it is.
But it doesn't need to be a way of life.
No, it isn't. No, not no.
No. So until next week, everybody, try and just try and focus. I mean, just start small.
Yep.
You will be amazed at how much better you feel.
And how much more you'll accomplish.
Yes, and it's a lovely, lovely thing. So have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same station. You still can't see the red in my hair, can you?
No, I told you, go find a big window and take a picture and post it.
With my varying shades of gray. I am.
To try.
I want sunshine.
I know you do. I know.
I do not want to have to go outside in a heavy sweatshirt.
Summer will come, I promise.
Yeah, I'm going to have 2 days this year. I don't know what 2 days.
And you'll be someplace else in the RV when it comes.
Probably. Probably. Or there will be the 2 days of summer here, and I'll be somewhere off in the RV where the damn it's raining. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye.